Hey family, it's Connor, and today we're going to talk about 3 ways that racism can interject itself into veganism and what we can do to combat that while we repot my plants together. So let's begin with number 1, acknowledging a speciesist and how to help them move into intersectional work. Speciesism is the assumption of human superiority leading to the exploitation of animals. So these are those people who have probably become vegan due to animal welfare and animal rights. This is all well and good, but sometimes humans can be lost in this definition. It's easy for a white person to look at animals and say they don't have rights. We humans have all the rights in the world, and we need to help animals be able to be treated humanely and not to be slaughtered or mistreated just for human consumption or human entertainment. For a black person to say that, it's kind of hard. We understand that we are humans as well, but our society doesn't understand that we are humans. So this is a good place to help the species understand why intersectionality is actually so important. Because our society doesn't necessarily see black people as old people, but as whatever they tend to see them as. Personally, I feel like continued labor that shouldn't speak up and have problems. Anyway, intersectionality can be taught in various of ways, but the first step is to open your eyes, helping that friend, that family member who is vegan, who supports animal welfare movements and things of that nature, encouraging them to educate themselves on various social justice movements, watching documentaries, reading articles and essays, looking at various interviews that come from different perspectives. So not just from mainstream media, but also from independent media. Social media, which comes directly from the individual, is a super amazing resource as well. Listening to people of color, like I said, from social media, from these individuals, listening to their experiences, allowing them the opportunity to speak out because they haven't had the opportunity to speak out, allowing them to shape their narrative for you by being a supportive listener. Number 2 is shock advertising and what we can do to stop that. In 2003, PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, which is a pretty popular vegan organization that I think most people are pretty familiar with. They're the ones that throw the blood on fur coats at the Met Gala and things of that nature. In 2003, they infamously put out a graphic that compared the poultry industry to the Holocaust based on treatment and a number of lives that were lost in an inhumane way. A lot of vegans like to use the slave trade in comparison to what is happening in factory farms as well. Just the fact hearing vegans say that cows are enslaved, I don't know, it just really irks me, makes me cringe so hard as a black woman having a black experience in not just the world but in America. It just, hearing that pigs are imprisoned, I can understand if you're using it straight from like a dictionary use of the word, but also we must be mindful of our language as we are moving forward. There are many people who are still sensitive to these language issues, and that needs to be addressed. Rarely black people are portrayed in large-scale media promotion when it comes to veganism. And when they are, it's overwhelmingly negative to prove a point of trauma and violence. So yay for us. Coming into number 3, ignorance of differences. This comes from cultural criticisms. That's a big one. A huge one that you can see definitely in this movement is cultural criticisms, which is insane. This is when you take someone's culture and you criticize you criticize it, right? Like, you look at the Maasai or you look at Inuits and you criticize them for the diet that they have, not looking at their environment and not considering their culture, which is due to said environment. Black people go through a lot in general, right? So helping the person who has ignorance of differences to understand that systematic and interpersonal racism is something that is felt on a daily basis for Black people. So excuse us if we don't feel like going to your pig visual at the farm sanctuary because we have a protest to go to for Black Lives Matter. It's as simple as that. Don't get mad. Don't get angry if we choose to go to the cookout in celebration of Juneteenth over, I don't know, going to hug turkeys at another farm sanctuary. I don't know. Because this is, and if you can hear, this is what a lot of Black people go through. Where do you draw the line between being Black and being vegan in society, right? In a perfect world, there would have to be no trying to find a place in both. We would easily just exist as what we wanted to exist as. But since that is not the case, here we are, trying to make room to aid in a cause for a cow can seem daunting and, even laughable for a Black person in this society. If you are Black and you are vegan, I'm sure you have heard from many family, friends, and possibly even strangers, which is my favorite part, about losing your Black card. Oh, you don't eat fried chicken anymore. Oh, you don't eat ribs. What do you mean you won't eat my greens now? There's smoked turkey neck. It's not pork. Oh, you ate this since you were a baby. This is your grandma's recipe for banana pudding. What do you mean you're not gonna eat it now? Things of that nature happens for us all of the time, and it's not just being called weird, but it's that cultural aspect. And for a lot of Black people, this is something that is all that we have. For a lot of us, this is the key to our Black experience, is eating Black soul food. So when it comes to that vegan who has an ignorance of differences, who's ready to come with cultural criticisms, who can't possibly fathom, why would you care? Don't you care about the chicken's life? Why does it matter if your mom made the fried chicken? Well, it matters. For a lot of people, it does matter because this is a symbolism of something. And if you have an emotional attachment to something that your mom made, hey, that's your emotion to have. It is valid. And it is up to your community to try and support you through that emotional attachment if you wish to separate from it. But we must also be willing to acknowledge that it is there. So you guys, those are the 3 ways that we find racism interjecting itself into veganism, out of so many other ways that this can happen. So I will be doing another video of this. More ways, because this is a discussion that we need to have now, because we know that animal liberalists are amazing at protesting and they get results. They get factory farms shut down. So we need that type of power. We need that type of privilege to be for us, to be for our Black lives. So remember what this channel is about. It is about reducing the ego, you and I as individuals, and embracing the eco, which includes us as people, embracing the earth, animals, and the flora around us. Remember, human suffering is not the same as animal suffering. Love and light, guys.